වෙලාව පසුළු 2:05 මිනිත්තු 45යි.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The time right now is 2:45 p.m. Welcome to the Good News Radio. Today is Saturday, the 26th of July, and you're listening to the Good News Radio. As usual, we're here every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.
සුදානම් ආරම්භ කරන්නට අදත් හරියටම සෙන්සරාද අපි ආවිත් ඉනවා ඔයාලා ගෙදරට නිකම්ම නිකන් නෙමෙයි Ask the Founder segment එකත් අරගෙන අද Ask the Founder තනියම නෙමෙයි segment එකත් අරගෙන ආවිත් තියෙන්නේ තවත් අපි සෙන්ටර් එකට බොහෝ කාලෙකින් ආපු අමුත් එක්ක සශිකලා සුදානම් වෙනවා ගුණජසතර පදනමේ ගරු නිර්මාතෘතුමා සභාපති කුෂල් ගුණසේකර මහත්මයාත් එක්ක අපි බලමු අද Ask the Founder segment එකට කවුද ආවිත් ඉන්නේ කියලා.
Thank you, Vishmi. So we're moving on to our next segment, and as Vishmi mentioned, it's the Ask the Founder segment. So let me give you a brief about the Good News Radio right before that. So we here at the Good News Radio, it's brought to you live from the Foundation of Goodness's Sinigama Center of Excellence. And as you may or may not know, the Good News Radio is all about discussing all the good things that are happening in society, in the environment around us, in the world we live, because we believe that there's so much negative news out there, which of course we can't avoid, but the Good News Radio is one platform where we stop all the negativity at least for 2 to 3 hours and focus on the positive, focus on the goodness that's prevalent in today's society. So that's a bit about the Good News Radio, and we are here every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. And now as we move on to our next segment, which is called the Ask the Founder segment, we have none other than the founder of the Foundation of Goodness, Kushal Gunasekara, joining here in the Good News Radio studio. Hi Kushal.
Hi Sashikala, good to see you back after 1 week. We missed you last week.
Yes, unfortunately I missed the graduation, but I heard that went very well.
Yes, it was a very, very productive, very impactful, effective kind of, outcome, because after 6 months of their learning, they exhibit their products, especially the women's empowerment and enterprise. I mean, what I really liked about it is that, our aim has to bridge this urban-rural divide and, urban progress as opposed to the rural hardships. But I know that seeing the products now last weekend, our chief guest was the Deputy High Commissioner of New Zealand. Right? She, such a lovely lady, very heartwarming, have done some workshops with us before. She's actually a real star, and very kind towards, doing the best she can for rural enterprise and, rural women in action and all of that stuff. So, what she told me, and there are 2 others who came, Shadi Greenwood and Roseanne Dias, and both were here as guests of honor, and they were really delighted to see the quality of the products that have been, manufactured or produced by empowered rural women. So I can see for myself, this was the 35th graduation. So we had already graduated about 6,888 women, 89. Okay, one I missed. Anyway, women's graduation that was. So the products that were exhibited, I can say, being the 35th, if I looked at the 17th, they were 50% of what was produced and seen on the 35th time, right? They were of much more superior quality. So I'm going to say, although I may never be able to bridge that gap island-wide, although we have 21 centers, but here I can see that from 190 villages so far, the quality of the products made have certainly been bridged in terms of what they did before and now. So in that sense, I was really, really delighted to have actually been there. I actually said I missed you because, you would have also seen many things. Unfortunately, it was on a Friday. Yeah. Saturday we had the business skills development and prizes or awarding of the certificates. So we had English, we had Tamil, then we had Japanese, electrical installation maintenance, photography, then we had computing, then we had IT, all the IT, and all of those areas. Again, both put together, I think we graduated something like 500 plus. Yeah, 500 plus on both days. So, that's the time that you really feel good, because then you know that your effort has been rewarded and crowned, to the level that you aspired to see.
I know it's not about numbers, but I think it's good to shed some light into that number. You said 500 in one center here, and over the course of 6 months. I think that's massive for anyone to do. So that's a great deal.
Sashila, when we started, we didn't know where it would end up, but as I always say, I put my best foot forward at this time, at this stage, at now, present moment, because I don't know what is to come into the future. Future will only be destined as per what you do right now. Past is gone. No point lamenting, being despair and, having grief for what has already gone. That's gone. But what is into the future also, you can only have a dream. But what you do now, have to do it really well. So that is what we have done, and we have seen these numbers grow and flourish, which has been really, a noteworthy landmark. But we also can't do it alone. So we have to give a lot of credit to our donors, volunteers, trainers, coaches, supervisors, mentors, specialists from different subjects that come and give workshops. So it's a very rounded thing. Just today at 9:30, I did for 35 entrepreneurial ladies who have just graduated from the last weekend. I had a session with them to ask questions, then also give my, business acumen that I know of, plus the values. I speak more on the values and life challenging times and how to encounter them and make them, impactful, because, sometimes you have to be turned down to rise back again. So that's what we have been doing this morning. Plus then we had your class, new students, new batch has come to learn English, and how important is to learn English for rural students. They can read, they can write, but spoken English is always a tough ask for them. So we are driving it, and hopefully you have shown some results very good, and so is Bashita. So hopefully we'll get, it's sad thing to say, but whole of last year, if you looked at our data, only 23 are English little stars who can speak English. 23 in the whole of 9,000 students out there. So that's the sad thing about the rural community. But we have two behind you. One is Jumana, one is Osanda, who speaks very decent English, and they are also in your class, so they have also done really well. Natali is another. So, I'm just telling them that don't limit yourself to a certain extent without learning the universal language English. If I didn't speak English, and when all the donors, caring donors, kind donors, thoughtful, considerate, very empathetic, helpful, coming to Sinigama, if I didn't speak English, I wouldn't be on the Good News Radio. Right? Because how would they have, it didn't happen only in Sinigama, no, it happened in thousands of villages, but not to brag. But we were there at the right time, where we were meant to be. So we had to speak in English, get all their, things done, and you have to drive them, so I'm always very concerned about, students learning English. as I said, they can speak, they can write, they can read, but the communication is what stops them. And I told you when we did this, evaluation, or we did this research, it showed that they said it's difficult, we are embarrassed, we are shy, things like that. But that's the excuse they give, right? Because they think we must speak English like the British, right? Not otherwise. That's a myth we have. Whereas so many countries have come forward, even in Europe, right? They speak the way they can as per their dialect. So that's what it is. And I'm always advocating, learning of English language and to be proficient in English, which is so very important.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Kushil. And in fact, today we did a speaking exercise where they had to speak only for 15 seconds. And I said, you breathe and the 15 seconds will pass. And it was on my village, right? And there were quite a number of people who couldn't speak for 15 seconds on my village. So they would say the name of the village and they would stop. Or they would say the name of the village and they would say, I love my village, and that would be it. And then when someone says, I love my village, the entire row will say, I love my village. So I was thinking why I asked them actually, I asked you to talk about your village in Sinhala, you'd speak for minutes. But in English, you can't even speak for 15 seconds. And I said, it's not that you can't. These are facts that you know. It's just you're afraid to give that fact to me. So I said, I don't care for 15 seconds. I don't care if you say the wrong sentences, but you need to give me the sentences. So then I told that at least next week, the idea is not that you give me correct sentences for 15 seconds, but you speak for 15 seconds about something very simple as my village. So that's like sort of the unfortunate situation that it's not that people can't, but they're really afraid to.
I'm really, that resonates with me because I did this, like the study, so, but I think they're not only afraid, they're shy, right? They all join, hand in glove, kind of situation, but they're shy, they're embarrassed, and they think they will falter, So, but if you want to practice, practice makes it perfect, right? So more practice, better it is. We also came from a my father and mother was absolutely, top class in their level of, English. But when we went to school, especially I was at Trinity till, year 6, and then, I picked up Trinity and so more, in that way, inclined speaking English and all of that. But when I came to Ananda, when we went to school, especially I was at Trinity till, year 6, and then, I picked up Trinity and so more, in that way, inclined speaking English and all of that. But when I came to Ananda, it was the other way around. So I had a good background on English, then in Sinhala, and so that was also really good. But I think without being able to communicate in English, there are limits that you cannot go beyond. If you ask the class, everybody says they put up their hand and say we want to go overseas. 1,590 doctors I saw in the papers had migrated, right? So, and may not all of them, but when you study medicine and when you are into computers, you gain that knowledge, but sometimes you can't articulate, right? But what is very important for village boys and girls is to speak English. So that's why I'm saying, go and listen every day to the news. Go learn to the news. It's not about the contents of the news. It's about how they present, how it's pitched, how it's nicely presented. So many different angles. So if there's today, you can go to YouTube, right, and learn so much, right? Now I sent a screenshot yesterday onto our thread at the Center of Excellence Management Committee saying that AI in 2026 will teach English, right? So that will be a major breakthrough, because you don't probably need to go to a teacher. You'll have a teacher, with you, full time. And AI is becoming bigger, better, and broader. It's making a huge impact. I'll tell you a good story today. I think Vishmi, being the head of women's empowerment sector, one of the ladies asked a question, right? How do I find an export market, right, for crochet that she's doing, right? So she's doing bags, she's doing all kinds of stuff, she showed me. Then I thought, okay, I'm going to put this into AI. And I put into AI and I asked, rural women within the Foundation of Goodness has started to make, crochet products. Where is the market, most that you consider? And how do we take the steps forward? I'll tell you, within 60 seconds, I had a whole lot of structured step-by-step guides, plus the countries that want these products and what they are looking for, right? And then I asked, okay, what's the export, plan of action and all of that stuff. So then I told her, look, within 2-3 minutes, you have a plan, almost a proposal, that you can only think this in English, and I'll get it translated by giving it to somebody. And I was saying, Oshini Amandi, one of the. Then quickly, I think Chalini was next to me, said, sir, ask them to translate, and they will translate. I forgot. Immediately they translated, and it went into about 4 pages. So I have it with me, and she was over the moon, because she has, if she studies those 4 pages, she can, find a way to start. So there is so, unlike our days, Sashikala, there is so much information out there that you can excel, and those days we had to go to a classroom to find out what is happening. Well, that's maybe the reason why I didn't learn anything in a classroom. So, but now, they have to only be given these awareness. So one lady said, another thing that I want to, talk at the management meeting later, but one lady said, can you give us a workshop how to trade online? And you wouldn't believe, yesterday.
E-commerce. E-commerce.
Yeah, I mean, now they
accounts, some social media accounts.
Plus how to also sell it online, how to eventually, online, enterprise. But, yesterday when I was coming, you will never believe, one of our top teachers, IT teachers, a lady, sends me a message with 6 beautifully designed handbags. They have done at the bag making class, and because she's a computer specialist, she has gone online and she's trading online. So I said immediately, because she wasn't there, I told Kaushi immediately get Guyanimis to do a online class. So there are today so many methodologies that are available to you and at your disposal to make good and keep going. So it's just to be proactive. That's what it is. They sometimes they're not proactive. It's very good to, broaden your horizons with all the tools we have today.
I agree. Even after you left and gave that little talk at the class, you were speaking about YouTube. I expanded on it and I said that YouTube really is my best friend, actually, if you ask me. Yeah. Because YouTube, anything and everything is on YouTube, and it's in a very explainable, easy to understand format. So if you know how to use YouTube well, I mean, it's not rocket science. You go and search, and it will come to you. So information is very, I would say, compared to like a decade ago when I was growing up, information is very democratized because it's readily available for anyone. Of course, there are costs associated with it, but at least it's not as difficult as a few decades ago to get information. And that itself is somewhat bridging the gaps and somewhat have reducing the challenges. Access to information is the first step in bridging this gap. So it's just we need to keep empowering the people to continue to use it, and maybe how to use data. Like if you're using all your data to watch a teledrama or whatnot, maybe use 50% of it for education, something like that. So that's
you got to use. I mean, like LinkedIn, of course, is for business connections, right? But on YouTube, there are so many, like you said, and also when even this segment, once it's finished, it gets into the YouTube, right? So if you have a chat, then that chat later also gets broken down into different segments, and one day these are archived, right? These can be viewed, and somebody wants to learn something about good values, life skills, positive stories. These are good news radio. So there is positive news, right? It's news that make you feel let's go. It's not toxic, it's not negative. It's about making things happen, rather than wonder what happened or watch things happen. So I think from that standpoint, these are all that we put out to the universe, and the universe will do the needful, as we go along.
Yeah, so great to see another successful graduation ceremony at the Foundation of Goodness, and then of course we will look forward to the next ceremony.
Yeah, but before we get on to having a chat with probably Sam, who is here, and we'll introduce him later. But I made a request to Jumana about 2 months before the graduation. I said, why don't you, because you can sing very well in English, but I know your singer is not best because she's come from like overseas. She's been born and bred there, so she has actually gone into the international school and she has learned English and with a little slightly UK accent that she can switch as and when she wants. And I told her I wanted to sing Master Sir, right? But I forgot. And then to see she has appeared with the mother and saying, I'm ready to sing Master Sir. So we actually got it on screen and sang Master Sir. She sang Master Sir
at the graduation.
Yeah, at the graduation. We ended up with that. So
nice.
It was super. Then comes Osanda and talks to me about some issues in English at the IT class. She says I'm an IT advanced student. And I'm an IT advanced student, and so this basics, the IT students were not even had basics are coming to my class. So we had to try and sort that out, and I had a chat with the heads of the department and sorted that out in a way that he's satisfied with. I mean, there's a point he's making. I mean, he's advanced, so when the people who don't even have done basics are coming, he has no patience. So next time he'll learn some patience as well. But it's worked really well. So
speaking of Osanda, he has recently had an achievement. Maybe we can speak about that. Do you want to tell us what your achievement was, Osanda?
But speak loud now.
So recently, I won a impromptu speech competition. I won second place in the Ambalangoda area.
Wow.
Then I went to the other competition from Ambalangoda, Balapiti and Hikkaduwa. 6 students were participating, and I am still waiting for the results.
Oh wow, that is well done. But is it under? Is there age group or?
Yes, it's a school.
Grade.
School level, grade
so
level.
So that means you are representing year 7, grade 7 or year 7? No, grade 7.
7.
Or 12. Okay. So, but impromptu win in the whole region.
Ambalangoda area first, right? So I think second, yeah.
So we are also very proud. I think we should put that up on our gallery, because it's a good achievement. If you can write down, we must put his photograph and put like a winner on our gallery.
So you were sent from your school, is it? How did that happen?
No, the teachers in our school said there are competitions like this. Anyone who wants to participate, you can participate. So I participated for impromptu and oratory. No, not oratory, recitation. It's a poem. I didn't get chosen for the recitation, but I got chosen for the impromptu.
So your teachers speak very good English in school, is it?
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
So I think something to note is it's not like he went to the competition with just an luck, and he actually practiced quite a lot, right? So 2 weeks ago he said, I have this competition and I want to practice. And then so during the class time, whole time, we were giving him topics and he was doing impromptu speeches.
So now we'll have to give him also the English star, little English star badge.
Yes.
Because he is now qualified.
Yes, now he's qualified.
We have two, Natali, Jumana, and then we have to give it to him.
Yes.
Because then he will also.
Now it's good time.
Yeah, and also he will also, start speaking amongst his peers. That is also very important. The peers. So that's great. So we've had a very good chat for a while now, and we also have a very special guest, and I think I'll leave it to Sashikala to basically say a few things before we get into the chat. And
so I think I had the pleasure of traveling with him today. The first time I met him, and he is a long-term friend of Kushil. And the first immediate thing I think he said was that you used to play tennis together.
Of course.
So that was his fondest memory of here, and you are about how you played tennis. And the second thing he said was he traveled to Australia first with you. That's the second thing. And then the third thing he said was how he took care of your kids also. So I think
he hasn't spoken about community service, but looks like there's a more leisure.
More on a personal note.
Yeah. No, I think Sam was we have at our studio, Good News Radio, my long-time friend Sam Rajaya. I've known him for now probably 30 years. And I got to know him because of my connection to HSBC. He was a staff officer at HSBC, so I was very close to the best tennis legend Sri Lanka has ever produced, Arjun Fernando, and I was very close to him. And then we were also banking with HSBC at the time. And then I think when he went overseas, he assigned me to Sam. And then, we are by nature are very friendly, open-hearted people who he was the same frequency. So we got immediately chatting to each other and all of that. But to cut a long story short, so we developed a friendship over the years, and so I built the villa in 1999, and I was very passionate. My passion was playing cricket, basketball, hockey, where I represented school, Ananda College. But I was very keen because we had already gone to the Australian Open. There's a lot of tennis that we started playing after, as like a leisure sport. So when I built the villa, I had Arjun, I remember, would say to me, this is the only place you have 5 sports in a day that you can do. So there was swimming, there was basketball, there was tennis, there was table tennis and cricket. So and our routine was we had a hard court here, and then we used to play tennis, and we had some really good rivalry, and we used to play a lot of singles. Now we've got old, and that may not be possible, but paddle tennis might be more into our age group or age category, but still I must say, we had some amazing games here. Who would have thought in 5 years everything would be under ruin, debris and rubble, and then I have to build everything, give up the tennis court, everything. But at that time we had some great competitions, and I remember, we used to go on trips, and then he used to come to Sri Lanka regularly with my other friends, and sometimes alone we have come. Then with my kids, where, those days, you let the real, lifestyle that everyone dreams of. Normally people go into retirement leading that, real lifestyle dream. In my case, I was given halfway and told, now 5 years is enough. You enjoyed this, and now you go basically into, serving humanity with the, setback we have had with the tsunami. So we used to come here on a Friday evening and then go back on Sunday, but Saturday, Sunday we used to play lots of tennis. We used to go to the sea, we swam, we played table tennis, so many different things, basketball. So I remember sometimes, there are times we have had, 6 all and said, let's stop. Let's not go beyond this. You are happy, I'm happy. We don't want to get into debates, and things like that also have happened. So, he's been, I'm so busy in my life, I've not had time to keep contact with him, and I think I have understood that he doesn't want to disturb me at any cost, because he knows the way I work. But, sometimes friendships are built in your heart, right? So, whether you see or not, or whether you communicate or not, it's in your heart. So when you connect, it triggers, right? So, I think Sam came last in 2019. My chauffeur, Subhash, this morning has told him, sir, you came in 2019. He's another great guy. So he remembered, I couldn't remember, so he said 6 years. So he hadn't come for 6 years, but I met him recently again, and then we reconnected, and I told him, you have come here so many times before the tsunami, and then, he came even before 2019, a couple of times, but it has been like a periodical thing. I went with him. He said he hadn't been to Australia. I'm always going to Australia, so I said, come with me, I'll take you there, and, now and then, maybe we are not very closely in touch, but when we get in touch, it takes, it sparks our fond memories, and, connects all of that and stuff. So, I told him that I was, actually only day before I told him that I was coming on Friday. He said, sorry, Friday he has some, event that he has to attend in Colombo, and I said, okay, I'll come on Friday, but I'll make sure that you come on, Saturday. So that's why he's here, and I think he's gone around after, a long time that he's been here. He's gone around and seen to all our sectors, looked at every, operation that we have. He's been at a top prestigious, very renowned bank, HSBC, and all his life, he's a very loyal, dedicated kind of personality who also went to Trinity College for, I think, his entire schooling career was at Trinity College. So, and he's like this, as Trinitians are, they might debate hearing this, statement, but he's like a proper gentleman, full of manners and respect, and that's the age category that we are in, where we have grown from, and seen, unlike now, so, then again, at that time, it was a very settled environment, not so rushed. We didn't have computers, we didn't have, mobile phones, we didn't have TVs, so he was playing on the street, right? You have to be a street smart kid, that kind of stuff. So, but he's here today, and I'm very happy that he's actually come, and I think all the way for 2 hours he had a chat with you, and not to forget how you volunteer here, and you've done it for 2.5 years, coming here on a Saturday, as a young girl, to come out here every Saturday, even if you don't have transport, to take the train and all of that, is my, great pleasure and privilege to, acknowledge, promote, care and share, because not everybody can do that, Sam. So, it's not that they don't necessarily have the time, but they have a good heart. That's what makes it, and doing it you can't do everything alone. You have to do it together. Then only it makes it, and when the heart is engaged, outcome is beautiful. So now we have Sam, and I think Sashikala, you should be asking, because he's my friend, so you should be asking the questions for him to give a bit of a narration.
So you're here after 2019.
Yes.
And let us walk through your thoughts, how you went down, maybe memory lane today, coming to the Foundation of Goodness's Sinigama Center of Excellence after 5 long years or more.
Firstly, this place has gone to another level. I have seen it, what it was and what it is now. And I was taken around and given a sort of a detailed account of what goes on each of the sectors. And it's unbelievable. Actually, seeing is believing. It was not like this, say 10, 15 years ago. But I think it's gone to another level where things are done, so much attention to detail, and that's a huge lesson. Kushil said, I went to Trinity. Yeah, Trinity taught us that thing, and I must tell one thing. I just gave him some help in the bank, and he sent me a thank you letter. And I knew this gentleman has got to be a perfect gentleman. And that's exactly what he does in his Foundation of Goodness. And I'm overjoyed.
And he's also a donor, because every year, by January, he makes a contribution for our essential school supplies for kids who are disadvantaged. So annually he gives,
But I always say my amount is insignificant. But he says that's not the criteria.
Every little helps.
Yeah. So it's an amazing, apart from our personal friendship, to see this grow and come being brought to this level. I think it's a case study if one is to be, and personally to me it's overwhelming.
That's interesting. It's a case study, and you already said one person has done research and obtained he saw her PhD.
Yeah.
So it's technically taken as a case study. So who knows, maybe someday it will land in a management class book as a case study, because we always talk about businesses and profit-making entities, how certain businesses did that, but this can be an impact case study.
Yeah, not to brag, but I know so many overseas visitors have asked to explain how, the management and the techniques that are adopted to keep it in this manner is done. Because it's not also easy, Sashikala or Sam, to raise $1.5 million year after year, especially post-tsunami. You can't even compare. Before the tsunami, my budget was like $1,000, and I probably would have put in 500, and the rest came in from various donors, $1,000 a month, and now it's $100,000 a month. So you can imagine the scale of its growth, and you can't even believe it. And also, it's impossible to, some people ask, how do you raise this kind of money? And that itself sometimes is a good, like he said, research kind of a plan to see how that may have happened. It's never easy every month after month, or like every year after year, to raise, you have to bridge the gap if there is a deficit, all kinds of stuff like that. But one of the things that I can tell you is by word of mouth. Word of mouth is the most powerful tool of marketing. That is because no amount of social media, you can promote, you can say all these things, but it's like going to a restaurant, right? And saying ambience is great, service is super, cost effective, food is tasty and beautiful. So then everybody wants to go there, right? So that's how it happens most of the time in most restaurants. So I think when you are also serving humanity, it's other people's money. So you've got to be very sharp. You've got to give attention to detail. You've got to be driving it in a way that they get the feedback. Okay? And transparency, accountability, and surpassing donor expectations. That is the key. So, it's also not easy because you have to, I don't know. Sometimes people ask me, how do you run this race? Because, you're day in, day out, you work still, like unbelievable hours, let's say, 9 to 9, is mandatory for me. There's no way to backtrack, so that's the way it has been going. And, of course, I have a fantastic team. I've delegated a lot of work and, see to, in Sri Lanka, unless you follow up and do more follow-up, it's not going to happen. It's like you go to the Western world, you delegate something and entrust it to someone else. They will come back to you on time. That's being professional. But, not always is the case, or majority of the time in Sri Lanka, you hand over a job. So, the phones are not answered by the deadline. So, these things happen. And unless you drive it like that, things are not going to work the way you want it to be. But, yeah.
And also, I think the key here is the role model he's been. Kushil is an amazing role model. You can have good teams, but to build a good team, your captain has to be above board. And that, to me personally, is one of the key factors of this success. If it's a success story, yeah. And FOG is today what it is mainly because of that factor. And I can proudly say, this is a winning formula.
I think I also have got to give a lot of, acknowledgement and gratitude to my trustees who have been there, Murali from the very beginning, Ashan Mallasekara, some of the other legends who have actually done some amazing work. Corporates, there isn't a top corporate that has not got involved with us, especially from overseas, like England, Australia, even US to a great extent. The most impacting two would be England and Australia, but even from Europe, wherever. And the celebrities of sports, also have done so much work for us. But without a team, it's not going to be able to take it. So I have a fabulous trustees. There is Russell Arnold, there is Pradeep Karunagaran, then there is Dr. Kushwin, a cardiologist, who does a lot of amazing work, truly extraordinary from Perth. So there are various, people who help us, day in, day out. If you take like MCC at Lords, they've been helping us for 15 years or more. So many, the too numerous to mention, and I ask for forgiveness if I not mention some of them who have even stayed for 8 years, 10 years. Laureate Sports stayed for 17 years. So, so many top companies all over the world. I think Tesco 8 years, Lonely Planet 8 years. So, those are big names. All the cricketers who have got involved with us, it's been really huge. So, there are various things we've done, like even in the north where we had the Murali Cup, where Kumar Sangakkara and Maharajavan also has put in a lot of effort to create that awareness, to make our Foundation of Goodness as a reconciliation platform which we initiated just post conflict. We have now, like a village heartbeat empowerment center in the Delft Island, and that to me was another dream. I never intended to go there, but when we just saw it one day, I just planted a seed saying, would love to have a center here. But it took 6-7 years that seed to grow and become like a fruit. So, hopefully, there comes an expiry time for everything. You have to be able to understand, to leave and let go. Sometimes letting go is getting more. And, you have to understand, you can't always get attached to this. It's like my holiday home here, I gave it away when the tsunami struck to the Foundation for Goodness to make it like a mini campus. So here we are. But I must say that, sometimes these friendships are built on solid ground. Like I said, it's never on a conditional basis. It's unconditional, right? So it's not you should ring me or I should ring you, or you just forget, and you let it be. Let time take its toll. It comes back. It's like, it's like a rubber ball. You keep pressing it bounces back. So it's, and also you have your own ways of going, doing things that, you have no time to interact with, even some of your best friends. I actually don't know whether I have any friends anymore because, I do have a lot of networking, but I can't keep in touch because of the workload I have, and I'm always on the move, and people, even my family even complains that I don't come for their functions and whatnot, but that is not because I don't necessarily want to go, but it's just that I don't have the time. In fact, today, as we speak, is a big almsgiving in one of our relatives' houses, and I just sent some like offering for the almsgiving, but I couldn't go. So my whole family is there, so they'll be talking about his love and his love for Senegal and humanity and all of that stuff.
Love and passion about
Yeah.
So I mean that's the kind of commitment Kushil has towards this wonderful organization. So I mean, that's something I think it has to come very naturally. Can't force it down anyone's throat, but it's a success story end of the day.
And I always say that, anyone can copy your work and your style, but no one can copy your passion. Each one has a different passion for things that they want to accomplish, and you have to go in that line. But maintaining and sustaining good values is a definite, a wholesome journey that is, you can say less traveled.
And I completely hear what he was saying. You can't force it down someone's throat, something like this. At least if you're working for a corporate job, you work hard, you put in the hours, and you know that there's some sort of reward in terms of a promotion or recognition or a financial benefit. You know that can be there at the end of the tunnel. I'm not saying that's the only reason people do it, but it's surely part of it. And so hence you're driven to do that because you see that reward. But here your reward is impact. And it's not a personal reward per se, but the impact you create for the society. So to have that reward and be this driven, I believe is something definitely unique and different.
I think it's also the bliss that you feel within, which is incomparable to any other kind of happiness that you derive. And at the end of the day, I always say, when people are working for corporates like you, they are judged on key performance indicators. But how do you judge individuals? By gross individual happiness. So I think that's what I am topping up. I have come from a corporate background, and I've come from competition to contribution. And that makes me so much more happier, lighter, so much more, simple, so things like that have been truly remarkable. I mean, I remember when I gave up entirely my corporate career and, sold all my assets. My daughter was in Australia and she asked me, she was 10 then, and she asked me, Tha, does this mean we have to go to a public school now? So I said to her, I don't know about the future. As of today, you don't have to. But it never happened that way. So, but I can also say this, a lot of people may not believe it, but I have experienced with my own life journey that the things I was blessed with, serving humanity, is something that I could never even experience, even if I had, countless amount of money. So money is not the measurement of somebody's, success. You can have money, maybe you're not sleeping well. We don't know, right? So maybe, and I always tell people that then I was externally rich, internally poor. Now the roles reversed. I'm externally poor, internally rich, right? So that's what I want to be in my last lap, so that's how life goes. But thanks very much, lovely chat we have had. I know Sashikala has to go at 4:00 in the train. I wish we were able to organize the transport back. Then people have gone at 5:30, but very unfortunate. She's going to go. But Sam, I want to thank you very profusely for accepting the invitation to come here. Sometimes also it's therapeutic when you meet friends who have been, not been meeting constantly or frequently, but who have had a history of, associated. And sometimes over a coffee, you need to have a chat, where, we remember the fond memories that we shared, many, and he's got like a stake here. He's been here so many times, so he has seen before and after.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the key. I mean, when one has seen what has happened and one sees what's happening now, future may be even better than this, it really can put your collars up and say, well done.
How would you describe the before and the after?
Well, that's a tough one, but previously I would say before tsunami it was more sort of, he used to do, charity work in a very, very small scale.
We had a village heartbeat empowerment center at the back, where the, if you remember, where we have the preschool now, that is where the birth of the foundation of goodness actually began to rise. Because that place, we had English, we had IT, we had women's empowerment, we have good values initiatives, then we had youth productivity programs, we had a maternity clinic, and we had a play park. So children's play. So that was a buzzing place after. But what happened was, in all these areas, people were coral miners. So they were doing something environmentally dangerous and disastrous. So I was praying how to stop this.
That's an amazing story. Yeah.
The UN probably would have tried. The governments would have tried. They couldn't do it for hundreds of years. That was their, livelihood. I had to actually come to some settlement with the people around who had kilns where they burned this lime, not to do so during the weekend. And if so, I'm not coming, because I was anyway helping the village, right? So they didn't do it over the weekend, but it was full of smoke, and I'll tell you, it was a sad experience. But when the tsunami struck, there was no resistance and breakwater, and it went up to, like 2 kilometers in our areas. So that's another story. So the story went, we ate from the sea and the sea ate us.
So I guess it was an opportunity. Always adverse things happen, but end of the day, you come out on a winning note, and that's exactly what has happened now. And I mean, I just can't even describe to what level it has come up to. So, it's great having known what it was and what it is.
That's great, and great to have you as someone who has seen the before and the after, and good to share your thoughts as well. And do we have any thoughts that can be shared by our two young radio hosts? Okay, so Jumana is doing a segment after this. Right. Okay, Osada. Maybe I can ask a question from you. So you just won this impromptu, came second. What are your tips for someone to speak impromptuly? How can they speak do that better? So share 2 to 3 tips with us.
Okay, some tips I have to say is, first, when you go onto the stage, don't look at the judge like, I can't do this. Always try, I can do this, I am gonna do this. And the tip number 2 is, when they give you a topic, you have 10 minutes to prepare. First, you can put on some small marks of what are you gonna say. It changes according to the topic, and you can practice that for like 4 minutes, and for 5 minutes you can put that tips together and you can make what are you gonna say. And then in the other minutes, you can try to remember it and practice. So that's the tips that I can tell.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's also impromptu speaking. So before this is impromptu speaking, right? It's impromptu. You get a topic then and there. But can you practice for impromptu speaking?
In the competitions like I went, we can practice for 10 minutes, but sometimes in life you have to do an impromptu speech. You have only seconds to prepare. So I can say, if you are doing a job and in a meeting, your boss says you to tell a small speech about how well is your job going now. You only have 2 or 3 minutes. The thing that you want to do is speak while also thinking what to say next.
Okay, thank you, Osanda, for those insightful tips. Did you all learn anything?
Oh my gosh, I'm learning. At 73, I'm learning from this little boy.
Yeah, I mean, at his age, I don't think I would have got up to any impromptu speech or probably spoken English like that, so he's really, really great. And to have that kind of confidence and personality. Yeah, that's great.
All right. Thank you, Osanda. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having given me the privilege of even having, getting to speak like this. I have never done this, but yet I enjoyed it.
You were quite reluctant at the lunch table to come here.
Yes.
But I think once you came here, you got really charged up.
Okay. Can't stop me. Right. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, thank you so very much for your,
it's great to have him here, and it's always, as they say, gratitude is the best attitude, and it's easy now, but during the 5 years we've had the villa, it's been really truly an amazing time we shared. Nothing of this, so it's just like lifestyle at its peak. I was given the peak in the middle, and latter stages I had to put in the hard yards.
Lovely chatting with you, gentlemen. So thank you very much for joining this Ask the Founder segment. And with that, we come to the end of this segment. And
I'm sure, there's one lady who's also helping us all the while, especially from a women's empowerment and enterprise angle. and she is Karen Joachim, and she is someone who's been always listening to our program. She makes comments and she sends us good feedback, and she has like very faithfully and in a trustworthy manner, she has allocated this time to, listen to our, segment, and, it's sometimes really motivating that she picks up on certain things and makes comments, and, so Karen, if you're listening out there, greetings from us, and I hope you continue to do that. And I think by doing that, she also prompts my family, hey, I have been listening to it, and what are you doing? Kind of thing. But not that I want them to listen, but when I always, she's on top of this program, and she doesn't need to, but also because she's from a very humanitarian background, and she's been, helping us a lot with the women's empowerment, unit and the work we do there. So she has a huge skill set, and we thank her for volunteering as well. She doesn't also necessarily have the time, but has a good heart.
Yeah, so hi to Karen if she's listening in today, and do continue to keep listening to the Good News Radio. And with that, we have come to the end of the Ask the Founder segment. So we will be here till 5 p.m. with the Good News Radio. Do stay tuned, and we will be back with the next segment after this quick musical break.